States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, begin with appropriation ordinance number 1234. I'll make that stuff up. The FBI, that's for the chief, right?
Well, no, that one there be for Lisa.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Right, okay. That's in, she's St. Mary's too, right?
Yep.
Yep.
The new St. Mary's too.
Maurice, can you, the transformers again? Was that from this?
Solomon
Yeah.
Corporation,
What were those for? Just the damage?
well, it could be replace the ones in inventory. I didn't study it that much, but I could have what it is. That's all we buy from Solomon. Yeah, but we should have used the ones from this one. Okay.
Any other questions or concerns with the appropriation ordinance? Entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance 1234.
A second?
We have a motion and a second to approve appropriation ordinance number 1234. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, proposed minutes of the May 21st, 2024 regular meeting. Matthew's not here, so I can get into all the grammar and sentence structure and all that good stuff. But they looked okay to me.
Good changes.
All right, we want to approve the agenda. Any items to be added? Maurice,
None.
commissioners have any items to be added? Yes, Teresa.
I just wanted to say something about the college free levy again.
Okay, we will put you on at number H.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pete?
Hey, also want to clarify, I see we're on the agenda for the resolution for the special event on the 15th.
Yes.
I didn't see the ordinance 1346 on the agenda. Will that be included tonight as well?
No,
It's not ready.
not ready.
I
Not
mean,
really?
I drafted it.
Yep,
So the attorney needs to review it. He needs to review it in itself, state law, and how, it goes with the rest of our code book.
got it.
That takes a little time.
Okay,
This was a Band-Aid to get you through the,
got it. Perfect.
Anybody else? All right. So we'll begin with item A, resolution number 0524, Caw Valley Special Event.
it's the same format that we used a couple years ago, just had the address updated in the day and that sort of stuff. So if you approve it as presented, it would authorize alcohol, liquor on golf property as described on the day.
Anybody have any questions?
Motion for that or?
Yeah, we do.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion on accepting this as is resolution number 05-24.
Motion to approve resolution number 05-24 as presented. Do I have a second? We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 05-24 for the Caw Valley Special Event. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right. Let's see. Item B, Caw Valley Chamber of Commerce Candidate Forum. Somebody here to talk about that?
I can if you need me to.
Yeah, come on up.
And there was a letter in the packet.
Yeah, I see the letter, but.
Hi, Nicole Cavalier, St. Mary's,
Hi,
from the
Nicole.
Caw Valley Chamber. We are co-hosting with the Pot County Economic Development. They asked us to host a candidate forum for the county commissioner positions and for the local sheriff's position or the county sheriff's position also. There are several, like when we go Chambers hosting prioritize for their district and we're hosting for our district. So we were requesting, it's for the community, we're gonna invite the community to it. So we're just requesting the fee be waived for that event.
So county commissioner, county sheriff, not the city commissioners. Yeah, I see.
The other question I have is, how do you develop the questions if you're co-hosting it?
The questions have already been, are already out there, you can see them, they're online on Pot County Economic Development's website.
How long? At 6 p.m.? I mean.
It's from 6 to 8, it's 2
6 to 8,
hours.
2 hours. Okay. I don't have a problem with it. Okay.
Thank you very
Good
much.
to go, thank you. All right, moving on. Item C is storm damage RFQs. So these are all the RFQs. And they haven't presented to us. So, haven't had a chance, none of us have had a chance to go through any of them.
You know, open them up and we can make copies if we need to, or you can.
Yeah, I think we're probably gonna need, so we can get copies for all the commissioners. I personally don't wanna speak on anybody's qualifications without reading their qualifications. This looks like this first one is, I'm not gonna read the entire,
You can read the name and then look it off the council.
Rod Aker.
Okay,
I can see, do them all, and I'll get to it. This one is from Frank McGee, with McGee Roofing. Midwest Coating, see the same there, let's see who that is here. Mike Robinson with Midwest Coating. American Commercial Roofing. This is Dan Rickamini. A bunch. Roof Technologies, and it was prepared by Kirk McCoy. There's no I don't see any letter in here or anything, but it was all prepared by Kirk McCoy, it says. And then BHS Construction. Oh, there's a bottle of bourbon, do I get to keep that? No, I'm just kidding, there's no bottle of bourbon. Kelly Carl presented this. So, I know there's some of you here tonight just for this. I think me personally, I don't think, we can't make a decision until we have a chance to review the qualifications. And I know we're kind of pressed for time. And before the meeting, I had spoken to the city manager about even the possibility of a special meeting once the commissioners have the opportunity to look over all the material. So I don't think, unless the other commissioners think otherwise, I don't know how much more we can do tonight on this, just based on the fact that we haven't had a chance to read any of the information.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a suggestion?
Yes.
So obviously that's a lot of material to come through. Could I suggest that maybe those contractors that are here kind of give a bullet point about themselves? And for those contractors that didn't show up, that's kind of a good indication that maybe they're not super interested in this project.
Well, I mean,
I mean, that's one way to weed out, okay.
I don't mind hearing.
I'm not saying, I mean, I'm proposing that idea, but
Yeah,
if everyone knew their RFQs were due tonight, and it's like, hey, if they're not gonna show up, at least.
well, if everybody wants to talk, they're more than welcome to, give a short presentation about themselves. But I think, I'm not willing to just disregard somebody's because they're not here tonight. I mean, it's obvious that a lot of people put a lot of effort into those, so I'd like to see what they have to say. But yeah, if anybody has anything they want to say, feel free to come on up. If you'd like to address the commission. Yep. Just tell us your name and who you're with. I think I remember.
Hi, I'm Mike Robinson, I'm with Midwest Coding. Very familiar with the city of St. Mary's and what you have here. We're standing under one of our roofs right now. We primarily do commercial roofing. We also do asphalt shingle roofing. We also have our own metal shops, so we can handle that side of things. We are in business taking care of the insurance side of things with school districts, municipalities, manufacturing organizations. With roofs, we just did when Rossville got their pump house blown off in that tornado. We came out and put one on the next day. That was about, maybe 200 square feet. We also just got done at Landau in St. Mary's, putting about $1.5 million retrofit roof on there. So we kind of do it all. I personally am in St. Mary's about 3 times a week. I came up when your library had the RTU roll over it. Bob contacted me, came out, helped you get you dried in, no charge to the city. So we are out of Topeka. This is my territory that St. Mary's lies in. I'm out here all the time. Happy to work with you guys. I'm also very open to working with other contractors, not trying to shut anybody out. I appreciate a fair and open competition for any of the projects that you have, any of the individual roofs. Also more than happy to listen to the advice of the other roofing professionals that are out there. Make sure we come to the consensus. I think the most important thing is that we get the city to make sure you get the most comprehensive and accurate look at what could be tied to your insurance claims and get you as whole as possible with the podcast we can.
What's your name again, sir?
Mike Robinson.
Mike Robinson. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Mike, quick question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
That's all.
Are there any other fields of expertise that you guys offer just other than the roofing?
We are roofing specialists. So, I mean, we do vertical siding, we do gutters and downspouts, we do all that type of thing. We stay away from structural. So yeah, we're primarily roofing and then the associated parts of it.
Thank you.
For time's sake, our report's pretty detailed and I'll just keep up with that.
All right. Get away from Reese. Excuse me, gentlemen, I apologize, but I have to just, 1 second. Diet Coke. Get you a cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling Maurice, I think, I would like to be able to digest all of this as much as I can. And then, I don't know if we'd have to have a special meeting, if,
Depends on how quickly you'd like to make a decision on this. We do have the insurance adjuster coming next week. They've switched us over to a different adjuster
when are they coming?
Tuesday. And we're not gonna cover roofs necessarily, we're gonna cover the fences and the damage that we've already repaired. Put the air conditioning back on the library and that sort of stuff. They have photos of the damage, the electric lines, all that. We're just gonna get it going. They come back.
Alright. Well, well, she's making copies, can we just move on, we can circle back to this,
Yep.
finish it up, but let's move on. We'll hit item D, sidewalk Mount Calvary and to Elm on North Second Street.
There was something in the packet from.
Go ahead, Francis, would you have?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, so. Bill Drew, from, I guess, the Academy property there that, owns the cemetery along Second Street. He called and asked about, a sidewalk from Mount Calvary down to Elm Street area, so it would be on the east side of Second Street. And he said that the idea was brought up to him by somebody who is just watching the traffic patterns up there, and I don't mean to target one specific case because generally not a good reason to make a decision, but there was one specific case that did make somebody come up with the idea that maybe a better sidewalk would be helpful. And that was a situation where it's a lady in a motorized wheelchair who does travel a lot in that area and ends up on the street quite a bit. And so that's kind of where the idea started, but I think just looking at the traffic patterns as well, I could definitely see a need of a sidewalk in that area. When was it, a couple of years ago, the city did put a sidewalk on Second Street between Mount Calvary and the next street block north there. Trying to get some of the kids walking to school and just walking off of Second Street, because there was a gravel sidewalk once you hit Mount Calvary. And I think that's been a good addition, and so I told Bill, I said, well, I can certainly bring it up at the next city commission meeting. And I said, we currently have three or four ways that sidewalk gets put in. One is the city, like we did on the post office, it pays for it. Another one is a volunteer type setup to where the city pays for material and the installation happens by volunteers. Another one is a cost compensation program where the city pays so much per square foot. And then obviously the fourth one is property owner puts it in. So I said, do any of those, are you willing to consider any of those? And he said, well, if the city would be willing to kind of look at it maybe more of a volunteer type project, and the city was willing to provide materials, specifically the concrete, then he would take care of all of the installation of the sidewalk. So I ran some quick numbers with him. Just taking a look, it's about 720 linear feet. That's including a little bit on the south side of that Elm area. About 3,600 square feet at 5 foot wide, roughly 45 yards of concrete. guesstimate at $150 a yard, somewhere around $6,700, $7,000. He did say that wire mesh would be donated. So, anyway, that's I obviously do push the sidewalk projects quite frequently. I think they're always a good project to consider, especially when it does seem like there's a need. So, yeah, happy to discuss further or answer any questions.
The trail, walking trail is the city's, right?
We're in the city limits.
And we've maintained it, I mean, we've always had it there, right? I mean, as far as, since it's been put in, it was put in by the city?
And I don't recall, it very well was. I know that Bob was trying to maintain it.
And it's, well, in that area, at least, it does sit in the city limits, that's because the city goes into the cemetery just a bit.
Well, the cemetery was annexed so that it could get water and stuff, and, access to water. So the property line, the county, right down that fence.
Right.
So that, everything's in the city on that piece. But the entire cemetery is in the city.
I have a question for Francis.
Go ahead.
Would Bill Drew consider, doing that all the way down to Elm Street? That whole thing needs to be paved. And I say that, I mean, I think, the whole thing should be paved because that gets a lot of foot traffic there. And pretty sorry, I didn't hear you correctly, but the city owns the sidewalk, is that correct?
It's-
Or the
It's in the city limits, and I do believe we're maintaining it. Doesn't come up that often, you just do it.
I'd like to see curb and gutter as well. I mean, I don't know if that's even, not where the existing trail is now, I don't think you can do that. I think you'd have to move it over towards the road, curb and gutter, and then put a sidewalk in. We'd get more life out of Second Street too.
I guess to answer the question, I did not ask him that. I think that's one of those ideas that's been discussed in the past, but sometimes, one of the things I think we were both considering, what is the long-term plan for the area? And even especially at Mount Calvary and Second Street, there's the conversation about people walking on Mount Calvary between Sixth Street and Second Street as well. That was more the conversation is that specific area, because there's already the walking trail south of Elm, down to Alma. And knowing that we've been doing 2 projects already this year, that if this project were to be approved, it certainly wouldn't inhibit or restrict a future project. So it's just more, the discussion was focused specifically on that area. But I would imagine that, you can see the need to eventually.
Well, yeah, we own it, it's ours, it belongs to the city, so I'm not opposed to this. Other projects that I have opposed that are maintained by the property owners. I believe it should be maintained by the property owners. But I would like to see the possibility of curbing and guttering that as well, and I don't know how much more that would raise that estimate up quite a bit, I would assume, because
So would the project be independent?
Well-
The sidewalk and the curb and gutter,
no, the curb and gutter adjacent to the sidewalk. So so what I'm saying is, if we just did the sidewalk where the walking path is, which I'm not opposed to necessarily, then we would still have a space between the sidewalk and Second Street. Quite a bit of space. And so my initial thought would be to put a curb and gutter and then put a sidewalk in. And then all the way from Mount Calvary, all the way down to the
Yeah, we probably want to put estimates together that might be a large amount.
Yeah, that may not be feasible.
Well, and maybe you don't do it all at the same one time, but.
Right.
It's worth getting a number for.
I would like, I would be opposed to it, seeing that, though, seeing what that would look like anyways.
I think it's a kind gesture from the property owner to offer at least the install on this too. Helps the city out for sure.
But we are the problem.
Do you own it, or I thought we just maintained it?
No, that's in the city
Let's
limits.
say limits,
Sorry.
I'm not sure.
But I agree with you, it's a nice gesture by Bill Drew to put forward that, the materials and the volunteer labor. But yeah, we own that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can verify that, it could be we have an easement and
Yeah.
part of the road, whatever, I don't know. But either way, the city has permission to use it.
Right.
Really rough estimate here, but at about $30 a linear foot for curb and gutter, which might be a little bit low. Guessing at how long Second Street is from Mount Calvary down to Elma, it's gonna looking somewhere between $150,000 to $200,000 for curb and gutter. So just back of the napkin, very rough numbers, but just for reference.
Can you do some checking on it then?
Hopefully Bob's watching, he's already on it, but, we'll check it,
All right.
and check it out.
All right, next item, recreation improvements,
Work session,
work session, yeah.
as well, I just left it on there. Perry asked if you chose the date for a work session, to talk about the lights and the other proposals he's mentioned. We had one set up, it didn't work out. I told him I'd bring it up again, so.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, can I go back to the
Want
previous?
to go back, I apologize.
Sorry, are we gonna take some sort of action on this, or I don't understand what our next step is?
Well, there was no decision made on the sidewalk, but there's supposed to be a quote together on the curb gutter, is that where we're at?
I think that,
Or do you want to just go forward with the sidewalk,
Treat it independently?
treat it independently? I'm not opposed to it, I don't know, again, I don't know what those numbers would look like as far as curbing and guttering it. I know I've been told that if you curb and gutter, if you're able to curb and gutter Second Street, you're gonna have a lot longer life out of the road, just because there is a curb and gutter there. But if the commission wants to just, move forward with just this portion of it, I'm fine with that. There's a question, how would you pay for it? Our portion.
The 7 or 8,000?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been working on the budget and the C-CLIP is pending and all that. And we're continuing to get sales tax money to come in, so I think the project 7 or 8,000 could be absorbed if you want to charge the sales tax. I don't know, no one knows how the year will end in the C-CLIP. Those C-CLIP quotes, those C-CLIP numbers are based on estimated volumes, and they're usually pretty accurate, but there is room for error.
Any other questions? If we're gonna do it, then if you think we can absorb it, then I say we do it.
You can do $7,000 for this particular project. I'll have the sales tax, I've been working on that today, we'll have that for the work session, so you can see. And then, whenever we did the budget like last year, I believe the sales tax estimate this year we put in 480, last year it came in at 518. you bump 480 up to 500, and there's 20,000 right there. And then, so it should be coming in, it's not coming in as much as last year, but it's pretty close.
If the question is the curb and gutter, or the sidewalk, just trying to absolutely agree, there's an advantage to curb and gutter. It's trying to understand where in the city curb and gutters were placed, where were they not placed, trying to understand the why. And that was probably before my time, before I was alive, some of these decisions were made. But I know there's different roads in the city currently that don't have a curb and gutter. Like 6th Street, I think, down to the refuse area from Lasley, even the road out here connecting, is that 9th Street to 7th, doesn't have curb and gutter. So I think it for sure would help it, looking at, and also looking at the potential expense of curb and gutter, happy to kind of consider that for sure. But as far as it being a determining factor on the sidewalk, for me, I think it would probably be okay to move forward on the sidewalk. I don't think that restricts the curb and gutter discussion in the future. So if the commission is open to moving forward on the sidewalk, I'd be in favor of that. But certainly open to the future discussion on curb and gutter if that's.
Well, the only reason I brought up curb and gutters, the only authority I've talked to is my son. He does kind of what he does, and so he said, yeah, I mean, you definitely get a lot more use out of 2nd Street if there was curb and gutter on each side of it. But I don't think I think if we're talking about in this particular instance, I mean, that whole walking trail would have to be basically removed if we were gonna do curb and gutter, and I think it might be cost prohibitive. So I agree, so I think it's not, I don't want to not do this project just because I'm interested in curb and gutter. So I would be in favor of moving forward with this project.
So you're not in favor of?
Oh, I am in favor of it. I would like to see curb and gutter. What I'm saying is, if we put the sidewalk where it's been presented, there's no sense in putting curb and gutter in, because that would be further to the west of the sidewalk, and then you'd have a big, I mean, it's still, the curb and gutter could still be beneficial. However, I think they'd be two separate projects, given the current, where everything is located now. You'd have 2nd Street, curb and gutter, a grassy area, sidewalk. So, yeah, let's do the sidewalk, and then we can talk about the curb and gutter at another time.
And there was another option of going down to Alma for the sidewalk too, was that we already did that. So there's a consensus to move forward with the sidewalk project as described. City doing the paying for the concrete, approximately $7 grand, could be more, and the property owner to handle the installation. There's a consensus for that?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we want to circle back to I don't want to keep people here, the RFQs?
So everyone has a copy of the RFQs. One thing we didn't copy was this photo report put together by Roof Technologies. It's a gold, stuff you can hand to them,
I would like to have a chance to go over these. I don't want to just, skim
Okay.
the surface and then say, oh yeah, okay. And I don't think it's effective use of our time just to sit here and read all of these. I would like to go over this information.
Carry over to the 6/18 regular meeting?
That's what I would like to do, I mean, unless we do a special meeting for this very issue, but it sounds like they're coming next Tuesday.
Well, not for the roof and the buildings up, just for the fences and the stuff like that. I wouldn't let that interfere with this. Cause they're coming back.
Okay. I mean, if you think we need to have a special meeting, I'm not opposed to that. But I don't want to just skim over this tonight and then make a decision, say, I want a chance to read it.
Yeah, that's okay then, carry over to the next regular meeting?
I just have a quick question, clarification question, is, when we're going through all of these different, packets, are we looking to choose multiple contractors to submit their findings, or what have you? I'm still a little bit confused on that. And I was hoping I could get some clarification, because one of the things is like, what exactly, what are the qualifications that we're looking for? I know what I'm gonna be looking for in these qualifications. But I don't know if we could set forth some suggestions as to what we're looking for, and are we gonna take all of them and ask them to do reports, or are we gonna select the top 2 or 3, or? I'm a little bit confused as to how that's gonna move forward with this. I was hoping I could get some clarity on that.
Well, historically, how have we handled RFQs in the past?
Well, so RFQ stands for request for qualification. You're supposed to put their qualifications and related experience on it. You then review it, try to find the one that's the best fit for you, and then work out an individual agreement with one of the companies.
Okay, so you said, we
Yes.
look for the qualifications that works for us, but yet we haven't defined as to what qualifications we're looking for. So we're gonna be reading through everybody's qualifications. Okay, are we looking for ones that,
I don't think
that's what I don't understand.
we
Are
have
we
to have.
looking for general contractors, are we looking for someone that just specializes in roofing, what are the qualifications that we're supposed to be looking for as we're reading through all the
I
different?
think it can be different for each commissioner.
Thank you, yes, I
I
agree.
think if you think roofing background is the most important, if you think general contracting is important, then that's the one that you would focus on. I don't know if we have to sit there and draw it out, A to Z and then line up and then, see. I think you just read through them, and some of them don't make sense, you put them aside or contact them. And if there's some that stands out, then you just focus on those. But I don't think there has to be,
Okay, I didn't know,
No,
that's why
I'm
I'm
just-
asking.
no, I definitely understand your concern, but I know there's a way to put a formula together that would, other than what you would be thinking of. So,
I agree, I think, what you may want all of them to then say, okay, we're gonna have them all give us a proposal. And, other commissioners may only want, 4 out of 5, 4 or 5 out of the 6, or 4 out of the 6, or 3 out of the 6. So I think then it's based on a consensus, and we go from there. And, and if it's determined that every company that has submitted an RFQ can put in a bid, then I say, then everybody will, but it will be up to the commissioners. Make sense?
Almost. I do have experience in this, but, one of the other things that I want to point out is that, as far as I understand, the claim has already been filed, is that
we
correct?
started the process, the adjuster has not been out here. I sent him some photos of fences and stuff that we've had fixed already, so that we can start working on that. I have not sent him the mutual aid numbers yet, by the way. Gardner doesn't want to charge anything for their one-day assistance, but no, the claim was open, and, the adjuster needs to be out here. And we've asked, the previous adjuster to hold off until you folks make a decision, because whoever you select needs to accompany them. But I wanted to get some of it going on stuff that we've already had, and then try to get it worked
Well,
out.
because, I know since the claim's already been filed, you know, one of the issues that we could possibly be running into is the fact that there's been multiple storms that have happened since that was filed. And so when a contractor, whoever it is, or if it's multiple contractors that are going with the adjuster to go through this, one of the arguments that the insurance could possibly make is like, hey, was this from the storm that you actually filed for, or is this for the storm that happened afterwards? And
Yeah, so when I filed it, or quote unquote filed, I contacted them, we were two storms. There was that one hailstorm that we'd spoken about previously,
Yeah.
that it had 6 different times at one time, and then after that, we had that windstorm. So when I submitted the email to our broker, I told them that we have claims for 2 storms, because initially
so we gotta pay 2 deductibles. Is that how that's gonna? And that's what I'm trying to avoid, is that if we keep, you know, pushing this down, there's more storms, and we have to file another claim, okay, then that's 3 deductibles versus.
I told them 2 storms. I didn't contact them on the hailstorm.
I don't know how it works on the city level. I know I've been dealing with property damage at my house. I've contacted my insurance company, they've sent someone out to look at it. I've told them that, you know, there's been multiple storms, and he goes, well, you may have to file another claim. So I called my insurance company, and I said, I'm not paying more than 1 deductible. I said, these storms all occurred within this spring, and I mean, if I have to point to 3 different storms, so be it, but I'm only paying 1 deductible to get the work done. And they didn't argue with me. So I don't know if it's different for commercial insurance. Come on up, Phil. I don't know if it's different for commercial insurance or not, but for my home, they told me, yeah, you only have to pay 1 deductible.
Phil Chrisworth, Roof Technologies. So from my experience, it's all what you say when you file the claim. Did you use data discovery or did you use a specific date? And typically, just for note for everyone, you want to use data discovery because we have so many multiple storms, so you can't go back and forth on those questions. But it's all over the place with insurance. So the data discovery is the data you want to use, but how did how did Maurice call it and present the claim? If he said multiple storms, then that's what they'll try to use, if they're gonna go that route, from my experience. So it could go either way, to answer.
Can insurance
Well, I
companies,
didn't know that was.
I don't know if you can answer this, or anybody here that can answer this, can insurance companies do that, demand that you pay multiple deductibles for multiple storms that came through the area?
I personally never seen it, just
Come on
because.
up, we can have a little round table.
Yeah.
Yes, we need it, right?
I didn't file the claim with the insurance company. I sent it to our broker. I don't think that they would know how to file it in our best interest.
Okay.
So one thing that you have going right now is that the cause of the damage to the library roof is readily apparent because wind rolled an RTU across the library because of a wind event. And when they pull their weather history report, they will see that you had a weather event on that day. That weather event was the cause of that damage. Using the data discovery method on that might prove to be a little bit problematic because you do know specifically exactly what happened and when it happened. For instance, on this roof, you have a 17-year-old TPO membrane that undoubtedly has hail fractures on it. Did those hail fractures come from that storm? Well, I haven't been up to inspect it, so you do have a little bit of wiggle room there as long as there was hail with that same event. To say that your discovery appears to be that it was from the same time, probably from the same event. There's nothing to say that didn't happen. But then you also have a pretty significant difference from one adjuster to the next or one claims specialist to the next if they're using a third party. And their words definitely matter. So the fact that you're bringing something to meet with them, and I think probably any of us could do it enough. We probably have enough experience with it, then walking with them, you can keep from saying the things that are going to keep it from being multiple deductible scenario, but it's not huge if anyone.
Yeah, did you have anything to add to that?
I think you nailed it on the head. I mean, we did have, unfortunately, the wind event didn't have hail in it, so it's more than likely gonna be 2 deductibles unless they use the first storm date to buy everything done.
We've had, I don't know, maybe I'm just naive, but we've had one insurance company cover,
We've had one brokerage,
one brokerage, yeah,
Charleston and Wilson.
Charleston and
We
Wilson.
had switched from different insurance companies.
But, yeah, so I just, this whole multiple,
It's,
deductibles,
you know,
just
lot-
doesn't seem like it should be legal.
So, to that point, you know, a lot of stuff was damaged by the hail, right? And then new stuff was damaged by wind. So, for instance, if on March 13th, we got out there, we documented everything, and then the new storm hits, well, we actually know it's different, you know? Because usually there's plenty of wind damage in a hailstorm too, but there's not necessarily hail damage in a windstorm. And so it is technical, but it's fair as well. I think the point maybe Chuck was trying to make is that getting out, getting it investigated before another storm hits would be very good, because more than likely a new storm, while it will do more destruction, it won't necessarily cause damage that shouldn't already be paid for, and therefore you can avoid a third or fourth deductible, if that makes sense.
Makes sense, I don't agree with it. I mean, I'm not saying I don't agree with you, Dan. I know what you're telling me is probably the truth. I just, insurance companies, you
It all
gotta.
comes down to the adjuster rate at the end of the day. I mean, for sure.
So regardless, we need
I
to
think
get
it's
it.
wise to, you know, obviously to review. I think we all came here to make sure you read them. I'm just kidding. Let's go. No, I do think it would be smart to set a special session and do it sooner than later.
That was kind of what I was getting at is, I don't know, I mean,
Thanks, guys.
we gotta wait another 2 weeks to decide who goes. I don't know if we can do something next Tuesday.
You said especially tomorrow.
And I'm asking the rest of the group, because obviously they don't
Yeah,
have
I'm
to.
just saying, you can set one from wherever you want. Tuesdays are traditional, if everyone's available, make sure there's a quorum available, so we decide tonight, who would like to meet.
Well, I know Matt won't be here for the month,
Sure.
June.
That's I only asked that just so, I mean, we're gonna get another storm here soon, just to prevent any of that and give us time to go through this.
I could do next Tuesday.
I mean, after the thorough inspection, the roofs are already hailed out. I mean, the ones we thoroughly inspected. So I don't understand, or I don't see them, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but going back, even if there was a storm, I mean, there's enough damage to get them approved from what we've seen, you know? So, and that's on multiple of the library, for instance, and this building here. So I don't really see, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but even if there was another storm, there's still damage from that storm that, from what we've seen, you know, requires full roof replacement. So,
At least 2 days of possible thunderstorms between now and next Tuesday, so.
You have a special meeting, yes?
I'll, if there is one, I'll be here, but for me, I think, I don't see the results being any different between next Tuesday or the 18th, but, like I said, if there's a special meeting, I'll be here, but, my preference would be just, go to the 18th.
I think we should, well, I agree with you, Francis. I don't think 1 week is gonna make that much difference, so. I'm not told that we need to have a special meeting, I think I don't think it would hurt to wait till the 18th.
All right, thank you.
All right, let's go on to the work session for the recreation improvements. Before a regular meeting?
Good choice. Go ahead. Yeah, so keep in mind, we also are gonna talk about later, about a budget work session, and normally we had that the last Tuesday of this month, but I have two commissioners, so they were gonna miss that, one being Dr. Childs, and the other one, they can't miss that. So, and by July 15th, or thereabouts, you have to send that notice to the county clerk if you're gonna exceed that revenue neutral rate, which I don't have yet, but should be getting soon. So, but back on the topic of the work session, so the rec, it could be any day, it could be a morning one, if you wanna do it in the morning, it could be evening, it could be a Thursday. It's up Thursday.
Well, I won't, I'll be gone the 19th through the 30th. So I wouldn't be available. I mean, I could do it before the next regular meeting, the 18th, before the 18th meeting would work for me. At 6 p.m., that would work for me.
What day?
6:18, regular meeting?
6:18 regular meeting, next regular meeting, have a work session starting at 6.
I thought you wanted to do it on the 11th and then have a special meeting after
No,
that.
no.
No, that works for me.
Maybe. I'll be here if I can.
Okay, so
Yes.
it's set, 6 o'clock
For the 18th.
on the 18th for a work session to discuss recreation with Perry and others.
All right. Moving on, item F, Palmer Road Bridge.
So at the last meeting, the gentleman from the county was here. We'd asked for a copy of the inspection report. I believe I provided that. There's also last year's packet. And he's wanting to get moving on the project, and I said I would put it on the agenda. He intends to be at the next meeting to follow up on this. He should need something else from him. I may have also sent out some pictures from underneath the bridge that Bob Schindler had taken from last year. I had others, I couldn't find them, so it's gonna carry over to the next meeting unless, no, it's not.
Carry it over, yeah. Your pictures, I went out there and looked at it, your pictures look worse than what I did.
Bob's
better.
picture,
Bob's
his
picture
iPhone
looked-
right there.
Yeah, better than my eyeballs.
Um,
So we'll carry that over to the next meeting. And in the budget work session, item G.
So, you're gone, that normal period, Francis is longer than no time period. The 11th is available, or you can do it during a regular meeting, it doesn't, I guess. I just, July 15th, when the revenue neutral rate has to be submitted to the county, if you're gonna exceed it. What are your thoughts?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the revenue neutral rate, from my understanding is every year the city has exceeded it. And when the legislature passed that statute change for the revenue neutral rate, it was very short-sighted, I believe, because it doesn't take into consideration the inflation. It doesn't take into consideration cities that have growth or improvements or new construction. And so the increased assessed valuations from those, it just looks at one single item and that is, does the city bring in a penny or more in tax revenue, property tax revenue than the prior year? And some of the reasons the city of St. Mary's does bring in additional tax revenue is because of the growth, and the remodeling and the new buildings and all of that. And so it's not necessarily an increase in taxes, it's just because of the additions and or improvements to properties that have increased the valuation. So I believe every single year the city has exceeded the revenue neutral rate. And part of it's because we increase our salaries each year to employees, health insurance goes up, cost of materials go up, I mean, it's gonna happen. And I think we also run a very strict tight budget. So where I'm going with this is, I would anticipate we will exceed the revenue neutral rate again this year. And so because of that deadline, which also is another problem with that whole revenue neutral rate, the deadlines are way too tight. If we just plan on exceeding it,
But there has to be a number, you submit the number, they put it out on their notice of all the other jurisdictions that are gonna exceed it. Now, I understand what you're saying, the out is, you increase it through a draft, and then you bring it down, but you have to suffer through the notification period where people might think that you're, but I do understand what you're getting at.
in the past, I think people understand that we do go through our budget very thoroughly. And so even if the revenue neutral rate notification is a little bit high, we have the opportunity to bring it down, which I think we've done in the past. So anyway, I rather than being under pressure for the timeline, I think I would be comfortable kind of not worrying about the revenue neutral rate, even if we have to have that initial number high. In the future budget meetings, we can bring it down. So I don't see a need to operate under a time pressure, so this can go.
So would you wanna have it on a regular agenda at the next meeting, or do you wanna have a work session on the 11th? The information that would be helpful, I know no decisions can't be made in work sessions. What I want assistance with is reevaluating what the sales tax numbers will be, because like I said earlier, it's 480 in the budget, last year it came in at 518, it's coming in at 96% or 95% of last year. I think you can pump that up a little bit, and that would then give you a more true look of what, is if you put out a revenue neutral increase, there's just too many moving parts. And I think it can be done in a regular meeting, it does not for my purposes, but hearing the department heads' requests, that probably isn't regular, but it could be, I mean, it's really what works for you.
A regular meeting is fine with me.
Go ahead.
I mean, if we have to stay a little bit later, we've taken some to 9:30, 10 o'clock, close to 10 o'clock.
No, I like it because I have an extra week now, so
Okay,
I'm fine.
there you go. All right, cool. Teresa, the levy, come on.
I'm Teresa McLaren, I'm here in St. Mary's, and I just wanted to thank the city. They came out the very next day after that meeting, their last meeting, and had a big tractor up there and was mowing. There's still stuff that needs to be done, they couldn't get the trees, and it's really scary watching the tractor because there's drop-offs. But I tell you what, Todd is good, and Bob was there too, and I just want to say thank you.
All right, thank you,
Post
Teresa.
it on Facebook.
Appreciate it. All right, anything under reports, Maurice?
The recently repaired street oiler has a leak, so he's taking it back.
Does it? That contracted, services is looking better and better every day, isn't it?
Yeah. We'll have an update next meeting,
Okay,
that's all we have.
all right. Nobody has anything, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to motion to adjourn.
Motion to